we're gonna make the most incredible British burger. The most amazing homemade patty, red Leicester burger sauce, pimped up with pulled oxtail. A British burger like you've never seen before. We're gonna start with oxtail. And before you run away and say, no, you've got to stay with me on this because it's next level stuff. So I've got 1 kilo of oxtail here. You can get it in any butcher's. So some basic seasoning with salt and pepper. And then we're gonna go into a pan and we're gonna brown it off. So you have the benefit of the bone and the marrow, and it gives you a kind of depth of flavour that's amazing. Let's get it really dark and golden and gorgeous. I want this amazing ultimate British burger to represent Britain. Cue the music. That's enough. And I want it to have texture, so patty, melted cheese, pulled meats. But when we put it together with the burger sauce, I want to be able, wait for it, to dip it in gravy. Filthy. I love it. So that's going to make the pulled meat and the gravy. So as that cooks, I'm going to add some onions and a really good shake of Worcestershire sauce. And then what I want to do, because remember we are doing a gravy, 4 tablespoons of flour. So I'll take the oxtail out now and put it into a little casserole pan, just caring enough to start getting colour even on the flour. And it's all going to add to the richness of the gravy. A little seasoning and 1.5 litres of vegetable, chicken stock, beef stock, whatever you got to hand. So let's just take that stock over the oxtail. And then I'm just going to cover it in a little greaseproof paper and then bring in the tin foil, cover it nice and tight like that, into the oven at 180 degrees Celsius, 350 Fahrenheit, and just let that oxtail slow cook for 3 to 4 hours until the meat falls off the bone. And this is going to give you loads of time to get on with your weekend, go do some stuff, knowing full well that something very special is about to happen. So when the time is up, have a look at that, guys. Oh, it smells so good. And you know what? It reminds me of my dear old nanny Betty. She used to love cooking this. The meat just falls off the bone. It is so, so good. Here is the gravy, by the way. Just skim off this fat and then push the gravy through a coarse sieve. You don't have to do it, but I quite like a finer gravy, right? I think it's a bit more elegant. And then these chunky bits can go back into our pulled meat. Just put a fresh swig of Worcestershire sauce in there. And then you can take a herb like parsley just to give it a little bit of contrast. And that on our burger is going to be amazing. I'll pop that in the oven and turn the oven off, okay, just to keep it warm. So, let's make the burger sauce. Let's get our pickle. It will give you tang and crunch. Then lettuce is surprisingly sweet. And then tomatoes. Get an overripe one, and that'll have wonderful flavour. Season it with salt and pepper, and then just dress it in a little yogurt. Look at that. I love it. So now is patty time. I love the chuck steak. It has a natural mix of fat and muscle and flavour. Don't overthink it. Roll it up, squash it out. Happy days. 4 fine little patties. I'm just going to season it, and then we go into the pan. So give it about 1.5 minutes, and then turn it. Get some English mustard. And you want a little teaspoon on there. English mustard is quite hot, but actually when it cooks, it calms. And we're going to flip it again. So it's going to have 4 turns. 1.5 minutes, brush, 1.5 minutes, right? And then just lay your red Leicester cheese over the top. And now, very importantly, find a little lid to put on top. The great thing about that bowl is it creates like a little bit of steam that just makes the cheese ooze. Jiggle that bun around in some of that rendered fat and gorgeousness. A nice bun only requires a few little minutes. It's the time to show you the ultimate burger. Let's get the oxtail out of the oven. Look at that. Oh, my Lord. We take the burger sauce, 2 little spoons. Look at that. And that ooze is a thing of beauty. incredible oxtail. Oh my Lord, behave. And then a little bun on top. But we ain't done yet, because remember, we made that gravy. And then you dip it. There's no polite way to eat this. It's gonna be messy, but it's gonna be one of the nicest things you eat. Pure indulgence. Oh.
Now I'm cooking up the ultimate fusion feast. Beef and black beans is a classic Chinese combo, so I'm bringing the two together in a mega East meets Essex burger. You know it makes sense. Ground beef and all those big smoky Asian barbecue flavours. A serious crowd pleaser. Served with a fresh punchy pickle salad and piles of gorgeous Asian noodles in a zingy ginger broth. An exciting mix of all my favourite bits in just 15 minutes.
Everyone likes a burger, and in my house at the weekend, Saturday, you know, having a nice salad, some noodles or pasta, you know, it's a great way to get the veggies in the kids, and of course burgers is great, and I've got a nice twist on these ones. So dead simple, 400 grams of good quality lean beef in there. I want to flavour that with quarter of one of these jars, about 50 millilitres of the black bean sauce, okay? You know, and it's a real deep flavour and gorgeous colour. We'll hit it with a little bit of salt and pepper, not too much, and that's all we want to do to it. Dead simple. Clean hands and just scrunch it up, and that flavour will go right through the whole burger. It's like a nice seasoning. So very quickly, just bring that together like that, and then we'll simply half it and quarter it and make some little patties. So roll them around. So, you know, black bean, beef, it kind of makes sense, do you know what I mean? You know, when I was a kid, I used to go to the Chinese restaurant and get like sizzling beef plates, you know, with black beans. And then there's no reason why it can't work with a little burger patty. The nice thing, of course, about a really good burger is that fine line between packing it into shape and having that lightness, so when you eat into it, it crumbles away, is a really beautiful thing. So, straight in there like that. It's on a medium-high heat. So roll them up and then just flatten down like that. And as soon as they've gone into the pan, I'll put a little bit of olive oil in there just to sort of make them caramelise nicely, about a tablespoon. Get yourself a little fish slice, and you've got an opportunity now, because it's going to shrink when it cooks. So really push it out another sort of 50%. That's exactly what we want.
Flattening out the burgers makes sure that they get good contact with the pan and helps to speed up the cooking and crispiness. Now, I want to turn some simple egg noodles into a turbocharged, veg-packed flavour fest.
Now, I've got a wok here. It's on high heat. I'm going to go in with about 600 mils of boiling water from the kettle. As per usual with 15-minute meals, you know, pans on, kettles are being boiled. Into that water, I'm going to add an organic stock cube, so we want to start building some flavour. I'm going to chuck that stock cube in, and, you know, we haven't got much time, but we want to have amazing flavour. So a thumb-sized piece of ginger, you know, just crudely take the outer skin off, and then I'm just going to slice up the ginger like this. Now, this water here, boiling, you know, that will be cooking into the noodles. So you've got chicken, you've got seasoning, you've got freshness of ginger straight away. We'll have it on full whack. We'll have a little shake of our burgers here. We'll have a little flip, actually, while we're on the subject. Now, they look dark here. Don't be sort of worried by that, because obviously the black bean, you know, that sort of caramelisation, the black beans make them colour a little bit darker. So bear with me on that one.
Leave your burgers on a medium heat to develop those gnarly caramelised flavours. The broth is infusing with that fragrant ginger. Now I want to create a buzzing little Asian pickle salad for a hit of fresh contrast to serve with these burgers.
I'm using a couple of spring onions, a chilli, and an old sort of friend of mine. I've got some water chestnuts, which have baffled me for many years. I remember when I was a kid working in the pub, and we put an Asian dish on the menu, which would be a little bit of a rarity in the middle of Essex in the countryside. And we'd have these water chestnuts, and people just used to leave them all on the plate. They had no idea what it was at all. Really nice. Actually, the juice they come in is actually quite delicious. I'm going to pour that into my broth here, waste not, want not. When you finally slice them, they're really delicious, and they're fantastic in salads. So you don't just have to cook them.
So what I'm going to do is I've got my slicer on my food processor on fine slice, and let's just rattle them through. So that goes through like that. And pop the spring onions and the chilli in there. I might put a third spring onion in, fit it into there. You know, if you've got one of these food processors, it's quite nice when you pack it in tight like this. You get beautiful slices. So we'll get this going. And that goes into a little bowl like that. Gorgeous. Okay, let's have a little look at this. You can see how wafer thin these are. Absolutely gorgeous. And this is the basis of our pickle. So we've got crunchy and sort of Asian-y flavours. We've got the chilli, we've got the hum of the onion. Get a nice lime, just give it a good roll, break all those little capsules, half it, and squeeze that into it. So the lime juice that I'll scrunch into it will kind of start pickling these beautiful things. What I want to do with that is have some coriander leaves, and I'm just going to take the end off. So the really nice sort of chunky end like that. I'm just going to put it on the top, right, and we'll have a little bit of soy sauce over there like that. So that's my pickle ready and raring. I'll dress it at the last minute, but I'm kind of thinking of that almost like a coleslaw with a traditional burger. You know, I want it to be like a nice, contrasty flavour and texture. So, burgers are looking good.
So the burgers are nearly there, the pickle salad is ready to go. All I need now is some fast-cooking wok action to knock out the veg-packed noodles in minutes.
A lot's going to happen very quick now, OK? We're going to get some nice noodles. I've got some egg noodles here. You want about 300 grams of these little bad boys. Plop them in. I want that amount of water, roughly, you know, 600-700 mils, because it's going to cook into the noodles and have just enough broth for you to slurp away at and be gorgeous. Once they've gone in, just move them around a little bit, and you can see straight away they start to unwind. So the noodles are sucking up that chickeny, gingery broth. Once these noodles are just starting to fall apart, the second part of the flavour goes in. I want the other quarter of this jar, okay, the black bean sauce, okay? That's going to give it, you know, a thickness, it's going to give it a darkness, a depth of flavour. I'm also going to hit it with a lime as well. We want that acidity in there for sure. So we'll slice that. Look at that. Get the juice in there. Let's talk about the veggies, because of course the veggies are going to flavour this as well. But in sort of classic Asian style, I don't want to cook the hell out of the veggies, right? I want them to cook for about a minute of their life. Just almost heat them through. You want them to be soft and hot, but crunchy and delicious. So I've got a red and yellow pepper here. Just push the stalk in, rip it open, and take out those seeds. You don't want those. So we've got red and yellow. Nice colour, nice flavour. We've got bok choy here. This is going to be gorgeous. And some sugar snap peas or monge-tu you could use. And these are going to go in the slicer. We're going to go in with the bok choy, the peppers, and the sugar snaps. All of them can go in. Oh, don't drop them. Also, the coriander stalks as well. Don't waste those. We'll get those in. Beautiful. You can see now the noodles are boiling away. I'm going to put these greens straight on top, like that. And honestly, these greens just need a minute and a half cooking. You can cook them more, but it's your loss. So I'm going to put those in like that. Also, I've got some lovely mushrooms here. You can get these Asian mushrooms in the supermarkets. Look how beautiful they are. Really quite, these are called enoki. Just cut the stalks off. They're tiny, so they're going to cook in seconds. But I'm just going to plop them in here, break them apart, and actually boiled in broth, they're going to be absolutely joyful. So now I'm just going to start tossing it up like that. The whole thing's really nearly there. Gorgeous.
Everything's coming together, and I've got one last trick up my sleeve to boost the burgers with a delicious sticky glaze.
We're going to go in now with about a tablespoon of honey. Put that over the burgers. You only want to do this for the last 30 seconds. Immediately, you see how shiny they're going to get. And then we'll go in with some sesame seeds. A good tablespoon. That's going to stick to the burgers and the honey and going golden. So just keep moving those around. We're kind of caramelizing now. And basically, we're gonna go as golden as you dare. Do you know what I mean? Because that's going to be good flavour.
This fusion feast is good to go. Pile on your steaming aromatic noodles. Dish out those sticky sesame-crusted burgers.
I can smell we've got gorgeous things happening here.
And finally, get stuck in and pep up your pickle. Mix through that tangy lime and soy dressing.
And plonk it there. Really nice. And there you go, lovely people. Beautiful noodles,
the lovely sesame caramelized encrusted black bean burgers, and that funky little pickle. Lovely little dinner, brilliant for lunchtime.
What a combo. East meets Essex, beautiful black bean burgers with tasty zingy noodles in just 15 minutes.
Come on! The pickle is so fresh. The water chestnuts with the chili, the lime, is fantastic. And this, my friends, is a beautiful thing. Black bean burgers. The flavours all the way through it. And the outside is so different to the inside, so it's a real surprise. And of course, we've got the beautiful broth underneath as well. Let's not forget that. Ready to be slurped.
Of course, a burger is famous for being fast food, but not everyone knows that it can also be a healthy meal for a family too. My homemade beef burgers will let you have a little bit of what you fancy if you do them my way. No nasties, no rubbish, you'll know exactly what's in them. And using really lean meat and clever garnishes, you'll get big flavours, but with none of the guilt. So feel the love that you've created something this delish for 4 people, from scratch, in just 15 minutes.
Okay, let me show you how simple this recipe is. I've got all my stuff out for my salad and my burgers. I've got my pan on, little medium heat, big pan. I've got an oven on about 130 just to warm the baps up. Okay, burgers, they are so simple. To make your own is just joyful, succulent and gorgeous. You know, one of the most important things is the mincemeat, okay? The quality of that, it's worth paying for good, lean, quality minced beef. Even get your butcher to grind it for you. I've got 500 grams into a bowl, and this will do 4 beautiful, nice big burgers. Just add a good pinch of salt and, of course, black pepper. I want to give it some flavour with some whole grain mustard, which is a real favourite of mine. So about a heaped teaspoon can go straight in there. And then, just to give it a little bit of just to make it juicy and nice, you have to believe me, a swig of beer, okay? Just a little swig. What's that going to do? It's going to give it a little element of flavour, which is gorgeous. With clean hands, just scrunch it up, and it takes seconds. So you've got those really nice, simple, basic flavours, but come on, mustard, beef, beer, it's going in the right direction. Just pat it down once you've mixed it up. Divide it in half with your hand. It's a little bit like mud pies when you're a kid. And then divide each half in half again. So you've got your 4 burgers. So it's sort of just under cricket ball sort of size. There's your patty. Straight into a pan on a medium heat. You can be quite rough with the balls. For me, what's great about this dish is, you know, burger has become like a little staple. Do you know what I mean? And it's one of the world's undeniable dishes, but it's also become sort of like the icon of junk food. But to get great beef, local meat, you know, to have it nicely ground and simply flavour it, cook it so it's charred on the outside and juicy on the middle, that is absolutely what home cooking's all about. What's so nice about this is the confidence that actually it's good for you. A little bit of olive oil in here, just a tablespoon, just to stop it sticking. Lovely. OK, so while they're cooking, let's get my baps in the oven. I've got 4 whole wheat buns. They're going to be beautifully soft as well. I've just turned the oven on to sort of low, 130. You know, if you don't heat them up, it never eats like heaven, you know?
So my burgers are already starting to do very nice things. Now I need to make a beautiful dressing that's guilt-free, mayo-free, and big on flavour.
I've got some fat-free yoghurt here. 2 big heaped tablespoons goes in there. And then I'm going to spike it with Worcestershire sauce. Really, really nice. Goes with the beef, like 2 peas in a pod, OK? So about a tablespoon you can just shake on top and just ripple it in like that. And it really, if you taste it, It's got attitude, flavour, loads of flavour. It's going to work a treat. OK, part of the beauty of this dish is like build your own. Do you know what I mean? So a lovely ripe beef tomato, or any ripe tomato, is gorgeous. Take the end off, and then I want 4 really nice, brave sort of chunks of tomato. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it properly. None of these wafy old bits. Just give them a little pinch from a height of salt, and it's just going to bring out the best in their flavour. Gherkins, or as we say in Essex, the Great British Wally, OK? Or in German, Gewürzgurken, whatever you want to call them, and just have them there. I like them, my wife doesn't, my kids and ah a little bit, but, you know, sometimes you put them there, and my kids get so annoyed with me because I'm always saying, grab a bit of that, put a bit of that on it, just go chuck it in your mouth, try it, and they just want to eat it like normal humans, do you know what I mean? So clearly I'm not normal. But let's turn over these burgers. Just have a look in here now. In a way, you can sort of see what's happening. You can see the heat going up. You can see the beef is clearly raw there and cooking up there. Let's just turn it over. Also, when you turn it over, you know when you like roasted chicken or any roasting joint, there's all the sticky bits in the bottom. Just make a point of rubbing around the area that it's cooked, because it's going to stick to it, almost like Marmite. And can you see that there? Probably looks a little bit dark. It will look dark, but just bear with me. That is the real deal. Look at that. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit. OK. So garnishes, sauce, burgers, buns. Let's make a beautiful salad.
This is a cracking little slaw, packed with veggies and ready in a flash.
So white cabbage goes a long way, cheap as chips. I'm just going to quite abruptly take a quarter, put it flat on the bottom, right? Because when you've got big knives and things like this, often you can have trouble. Tip goes in, hand either side, really secure it. I've got some carrots, give them a wash. What's the point in peeling things if you don't need to? 1 small red onion is great. Really simple little kind of shred salad, fresh, delicious. I've got the grater slicer on, food processor. Let's get it going. So, rattle it through. Same with the cabbage, might need a little slice. It's kind of like a cross between a slaw and a sort of shredded kind of salad you might get in a kebab or something like that. Great way of getting your 5 a day. Also a little twist in the tail, a beautiful ripe pear. Take the stalk off, but don't bother coring it or anything like that. All the best bits are inside it. Don't worry about the seeds, you'll never see them. So just shove it in. Anything crunchy in this salad is complete rock and roll. The burgers are done, my instinct tells me. If you're worried about if they're done or not, just cut them open, and that's how you know.
I'll let these bad boys sit on the residual heat for a couple more minutes while I crack on with the dressing and my gorgeous crunchy slaw.
In a salad bowl, I just want a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, nice extra virgin olive oil, a little swig of vinegar. You could nick a little bit of your gherkin vinegar if you want, or use a little bit of red wine vinegar, no problem at all. So I'm going to put that in, and really important, seasoning. Give that a little shake up. That's your dressing. Pour in all that shredded salad, and then give it a good old toss up. What I like about this salad is the processor treats every vegetable differently. So you've got like little bits, you've got long strands in some of them, and it looks really, really gorgeous. It's really important right now just to have a little taste and have a think about it. Does it need a little bit more salt? You know, is that sort of vinegar strong enough? I'm just going to add a little bit more vinegar there, just to give it that little woohoo. I'm also going to put some rocket through this as well, just for a nice bit of colour and sort of a peppery taste. Just turn it over a few times, like that. Gorgeous.
The buns are warmed through and ready for a slice up.
You know, you can see, you know, it's nice and soft and steamy in the middle, really crispy on the top. And of course, now we can load them up. So let's put the buns out here like that.
Layer up those tomatoes.
As you bite into that, all those juices will go straight in to that lovely little bun.
And check out the burger. Bold, beefy and beautiful.
Look how nice that is. It's nutritious, it's really nice. Loads and loads of veg in here, and you can even rack up, you know, a couple of little pickles.
You can't have a burger without a little bit of ketchup.
And I've got this beautiful yoghurt and Worcestershire sauce that eats so damn well when that mixes with the beef juices. You'll even be dipping your burger into this stuff because it's just like proper in your face, delicious flavour. And there you go. A brilliant 15-minute meal burger. I've even got camp little flags because that's what makes the kids happy. That is what I love about 15-minute meals. That's got to be quicker than going down to a drive-through. And you know exactly where everything's come from. Gorgeous salad, gorgeous burgers. What more do you want?
Guilt-free, tasty to the max, and super, super easy.
And that one is for me. Damn, that's good. There's no polite way to eat a burger, is there?
Meat eater or veggie, you're gonna love these. My happy cow burgers with super delicious slaw and corn on the cob. These veggie burgers with their mixed bean base are light, bright and really tasty. Served with all the trimmings plus golden sweet corn and my old school slaw. So creamy and crunchy, but still low on fat. Get stuck into this fun veggie feast for 4. Happy cow burgers in just 15 minutes. Happy days.
Now, my mates who are veggie are always in search of a really good veggie burger. But also, this recipe is for me, right? And I'm a full-blooded meat lover. But, you know, a couple of times a week, I'm definitely trying to make an effort for the last 4 or 5 years to go veggie at least 2 days of the week. So first things first, get your 4 sweet corn into your pan, get it on full whack. As per usual with 15-minute meals, we get the pans on. We got the kettle boiled. OK, so get your lid on the corn, get them cooking. So first up, the base of our burger is a tin of mixed beans. I want to grab a little sieve and drain this liquid. You've got borlotti beans, kidney beans, cannellini beans. Basically, having a mix obviously gives you a little bit of a variation. So that goes straight in to our mixer. Now, importantly, that's a 400-gram tin, but it's 240 grams of drained beans. Very, very important for this recipe working. Now what I need is 200 grams of frozen broad beans. Looks pretty much like that. Now, we've really got to kind of work with the textures and flavours of these beans, OK? So I've got about half a teaspoon of cumin. Please don't go OTT on that, right, because it's powerful stuff. Coriander powder, half a teaspoon goes in as well. I want about half a teaspoon. Is this jar big enough? Half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper for that little hum of heat that's going to be there in the background. And I want a heaped tablespoon of regular plain flour. That is about right, OK? Now, I want to lighten it. I want to put another angle on it. And a very good friend for this will be Mr. Lemon. And for that, we need one of these lovely little graters to really just take the zest off. So easy. A good pinch of pepper and a pinch of salt. Wazz it up. Oh, nearly forgot. I'm going to use the coriander leaves for my coleslaw. So I'm going to take that out. And then these lovely stalks here, they're going in. And we whiz all of these up and wazz it.
Veggie burgers tend to get a bad rap for being bland and dull. But all the lovely spices and lemon zest in this mix are going to lift these beans to a whole new flavour dimension.
All I've got to do now is just roll this up, divide it into 4. So just cut that into 4 like that. Then cut each part into 2.
just get a little bit of flour, just like that, over the top. Roll it in the flour, and then just in your hand, just press it into a patty, and they will be absolutely gorgeous. So roll it into the ball, nice and quick. So that's basically what we're looking for. Okay, we're there, we're looking good. All we need to do now is just put a couple of tablespoons of olive oil in a pan, and we get our lovely patties, and then just put these straight in.
So, my happy cow burgers are off and running. I'll turn them in a few minutes. My corn is blipping away. Now's my window to sort out some garnishes.
Okie dokie, so we've got some lovely lettuce leaves here. Just unclick a whole bunch of them. So think garnish. You know, the whole kind of joy of this dish, I think, is that it's kind of DIY. You know, there's sort of lots of exciting stuff going on. So I've got a nice orange and red tomato here. Just slice it up, you know, typical sort of size for a burger. Got a nice orange one, which is sweet. We're going to use about 75 grams of feta cheese. So we'll just crumble that. Some pickles, 2 or 3, and slice it up. Here we go. And we'll just plonk those like that. I want to chuck the buns in now. The oven's at 130. They just need sort of a couple of minutes in the oven just to kind of get them nice and crisp on the outside and lovely and fluffy in the middle. Let's check our burgers now. Let's get a fish slice carefully under, and then let's flip it. Turn this over. Nice colour there. That's a bit better. Lovely.
My burgers are browning up nicely. The corn is nearly cooked, and my garnishes are all on the board. Now for an old school slaw with a healthy twist.
I've got a red and white cabbage, which is nice. I'm going to get an old-fashioned box grater. And on the coarse side, I'm just going to grab, probably only need about 250 grams. Like that. So that's just about a third. There, look at that colour, come on. And then the white cabbage goes in. Pretty much 50-50, exactly the same amount of each. So that goes in. Then red onion. I just want half a red onion. I'm just going to peel that. You could use chives or spring onions or anything like that, just to kind of give that sort of oniony hum. I'm going to use a slightly finer side because getting a big old bit isn't really that pleasurable. So just grate that in. So what I need to do now is make the sort of sauce that makes it gorgeous. Now, traditionally in a slaw, you'd have mayonnaise that would just put the calories through the roof. I'm going to use 4 heaped tablespoons of fat-free yogurt. And interestingly, if I'd have made that with mayonnaise as per norm, that would have been 10 times the amount of calories. So a really brilliant, healthy little trick there, and it tastes fantastic. So a pinch of salt, a pinch of pepper. We're going to go some whole grain mustard, about a heaped teaspoon goes in. That's going to give it a nice little hum of heat as well. And then just take your coriander, such a beautiful bright flavour. And then I've got the half a lemon there. We've got the zest in the little happy cow burgers. Go straight in with the lemon. So bright flavours. Clean hands. Give it a nice little mix up. You know, that seasoning and that mustard's really important to make, you know, the cabbage really sing. Look at the colour. I mean, it's just vivid. Let's have a little try. Oh, I love it. Mmm. Happy, happy days. Okay, that is beautiful.
This salad is so quick to make and so much better for you than shop-bought coleslaw. It's a real win-win. Now, the corn and the cobs are done, so I can drain the water and hit them up with some bright, zingy flavours.
So just give these sweet corn just a little drizzle of olive oil, right? A tiny little pinch of salt, and the squeeze of 1 lime, and then just give them a good old shake about, and they're so delicious. Just twizzle them around. And of course you can do your normal butter, but the olive oil and lime juice is gorgeous. And what I love to do is get a little pinch of cayenne on there. And just as you're eating it, you get that little surprise. Gorgeous. And we're pretty much done. Just get these buns out of the oven. All I'm gonna do with these is get a serrated bread knife. I'm just gonna cut through all of them so they just easily go through. And then the fun begins, really. We start building.
A dollop of tangy tomato sauce ready for our delicious Happy Cow burgers. Crispy on the outside, soft in the middle. Gorgeous. Topped with tomatoes, pickles and feta, these buns are now busting with flavour. No one will be wondering where the meat is, I can promise you.
If you take that to the dinner table, people will go absolutely mad.
And don't forget the fresh corn on the cobs and our sensational old school slaw. By doing some speedy cooking, we've made a mega meal for 4 in just 15 minutes.
Bit of coleslaw in there. And look at that. Happy Cow burger. Very happy Jamie. That is so good. Really, really delicious.
First up, my very best fish baps.
You know, it doesn't matter who you're talking to, whether they're chefs or foodies, to do this kind of fish in a bun, but do it really, really well, is joy.
This is a real lip-smacking treat. A delicious reinvention of a classic fish finger sarnie. Gorgeous pieces of hot fish in a delicious crispy coating, layered into warm baps with the ultimate homemade tartar sauce, and my twist on smashed mushy peas. A real feast of simple pleasures, served up and good to go in 15 minutes.
I've got my pan on, I've got a pot on, I've boiled a kettle. First job is get your baps. These are nice whole wheat baps, nice and fresh. I'm just gonna pop them in the oven about 130 degrees. Of course, what we're looking for in a fresh bap is spongy and hotness in the inside, crispiness on the outside, so that's that done. The first job we're going to get on with is the mushy peas, smashed mushy peas, right? So without, you know, sort of piling loads and loads of cream and stuff like that in, how do you make it creamy and oozy? Well, we're going to use one humble little potato, medium size. Just slice it, sort of 1/2 centimetre slices, and get that one potato in a pot, cover it with boiling salted water. Basically, what the potatoes are doing is giving it an incredible creaminess and richness that's lovely. So I've already boiled my kettle. You only need to just cover the potatoes. You don't need loads in there.
That potato needs a few minutes to soften before I can add the peas. So I can now turn to the all-important crispy hot fish.
So, the exciting bit, the fish. I've got some beautiful plaice here. Have a look at this. You could, of course, use lemon sole, dab, flounder, megrim, any lovely white fish. I mean, look how gorgeous that is. This makes a great midweek dinner, a fantastic little lunch at the weekend. Let me show you what I want to do. Just get your fish on a bit of greaseproof paper. So it's already beautifully fresh. We don't need to do much to it. Let's season with salt. We can go for the pepper as well as, which is really nice. And, look at this. Come on, gold dust. This is cayenne. Do you think I've got enough? So a little bit from a height, not too much. You don't want to blow anyone's head off. It's just a little heat in the background, a little dusting. Okay, so that goes in, beautiful colour. And then all you need is a little bit of regular plain flour. Just sprinkle it like that. Now immediately the salt, flour, well, all those powders are going to draw out the excess moisture in the fish, okay? So it's going to kind of get a little bit gluey and create like an outer coating, which is going to be gorgeous. So all you need to do now is just dab that fish around and get it on both sides. And it's ready for cooking. Dead simple. I've got a hot pan here. This is on a medium-high heat. Let's just place the fish in.
So I've got a large pan here, and you can see I'm using every last centimetre. Done. Job's a good one.
This fish will only need 3 to 4 minutes on each side to go golden. So time now to check on those potatoes and create the mega mushy peas.
It's not cooked, but it's nearly cooked, right? So let's go in with some peas. Lovely frozen peas, 400 grams around. Love peas, sweet, kids love them, great colour. And then mint. Mint and peas, best friends in the world. Get yourself half a bunch, just grab it at the top, right? Chuck it in, end of. No mucking about. Lid on top.
So, peas are on, fish is on, and now I can crack on with my delicious tartar sauce.
I grew up as a child making it in the kitchen with Dad in the pub. I've made thousands of gallons of the stuff. Traditionally, it's made with mayonnaise, right? I'm doing a new way. I'm using fat-free yoghurt. I'm not just doing it for the hell of it. There's a sense to it. I'm putting 250 grams of yoghurt in there, OK? Right? And if I was to do that with mayonnaise, which is in most tartar sauces, that would be almost 180 grams of fat, right? So zero, nothing, right? In there, we're going to season with salt and pepper. We're going to use a little bit of parsley, just half a bunch of parsley, rip it in half, straight in. Then we want lemon, put the juice in, and squeeze it and catch the pips in your hand if there are any. And then the last ingredients are capers. And I'm just going to... don't want the juice. I want about a tablespoon, heaped tablespoon of capers. And also, when you buy the capers, try and get these lovely small ones. I just find the big, chunky ones, saggy ones, like an old handbag that's been through the war. You know, they're just horrible. Don't like them at all. Nice, delicate, small ones. And then gherkins. Don't care what you do as long as they're crunchy. Couple of tablespoons of those. The secret ingredient, 1 gem lettuce. You know, just trim off the dry edge, right? And you're thinking, what on earth are you doing putting lettuce in? This has got a sweetness to it that's outrageous. And it gives it a thickness, and it is just blimmin' delicious, right? So the whole gem goes in. Wazzy, wazzy, woo-woo. Damn good. This tartar sauce is beautiful, delicious condiment for any fish. Roasted, fried, you name it, it really doesn't matter. Fill up a beautiful bowl of this. Dead simple to make and gorgeous to eat. So spoon goes in, first element, done.
That sauce is a winner. Now it's back to the sizzling fish, and I've got one last trick up my sleeve to take it to another level of finger-licking gorgeousness.
I'm just going to grate. It'll look generous. It's about 20, 25 grams of Parmesan, right? You want a dusting. And this is going to cook, go golden, and go snappy and crispy like you just wouldn't believe, OK? So 25 grams odd of Parmesan there. Get under the fish, commit to it. 1, 2, 3, boom, right? Make a little bit of space, commit to it. 1, 2, 3, boom. Get under there. Fish slice, really important. 1, 2, 3, just do it. And if it breaks up, it really doesn't matter. It's going in a bun. It's a sarnie. So just don't worry about it too much. Boom. So this side, you know, has got our cayenne and our salt and pepper. The other side has got that Parmesan sort of hit. Give it a minute and a half, and it's all good. Now, these haven't been boiling for that long. I'm going to drain them straight away because I don't want to cook the life out of the peas or the mint. This goes back into the food processor. There's a little bit of mess in here as well. I'm not going to wash it out. This in here is only going to add to the beautiful things going on in here, right? So we're going to pour that one potato, that humongous amount of mint, and the peas. Wazz it up. Get yourself a spatula. You can have it chunky, or you can have it super sort of baby food fine, whatever gets you going, really. The only thing you've got to do is have a little taste. Oh, my Lord. I'm going to turn the heat off now. They're cooked. Let's get me buns out. These have puffed up a little bit. Let's get a serrated cutter. You know, one of the things I used to love as a kid was a fish finger sandwich, right? Secretly, we all do. And this isn't like a healthy version of it. It's a better version of it.
Give each bun a dollop of the fat-free tartar sauce.
I promise you, it's not a compromise. It's absolutely a bonus and wicked, wicked flavour.
Start piling up the mushy peas. And all we need now is the golden crispy fish.
And you see these little bits of Parmesan, it's cracky. It's almost like a Pringle, you know? Really, really good.
Just cut them in half and layer them up.
This, my friends, is the ultimate sandwich. It's a stuffed loaf with grilled chicken and layer upon layer of delicious ingredients, and it's got a dipping sauce. Come on, let's do this. So it's super simple. We've got a griddle pan on. I've just put that on full whack. I've got 2 chicken breasts here. Butterfly them. Going to one side of the chicken breast and just carefully cutting halfway through. By cutting in half, you're making it bigger. It can take on seasoning and flavour much better, and absolutely it's going to speed up the cooking by twice. And you can just score down there as well if you want. And I'm not going to season it at this point, okay? I'm going to season it later. Straight into the griddle pan. Let's wash my hands properly. Let's get some other jobs done. Slice the courgettes about 1/2 centimetre thick. Then with the peppers, push that little kind of stalk in and then tear open. That will allow you to take the seeds and the stalk, and we can lose that. These lovely halves, just tap the seeds out and rip them into quarters. Super simple. In no time at all, you can see the chicken is cooking in a really beautiful way. Just turn it over. Look at those lovely golden bar marks. Now, next up, we want to get a nice gem lettuce like this and slice it up as fine as you can. And then next, avocado. We love it. We love avocados. Now what we want is a little welcoming party to the chicken and the veg once we've grilled them. So what we're going to do is just add some olive oil to this tray, season it with some salt and pepper, the juice of 1/2 lemon. So that's a nice, simple little marinade dressing. Let's just get that chicken and put it into that dressing and bathe it. And of course, it's going to rest. And when it rests, the natural, lovely juices will come out wonderful. Now, more grilling to do. So in this griddle pan, we're now going to go in with the courgettes, and let's just char them on both sides. And then see all these juices in the tray. Look at that. This is such good flavour. So into there, just simply move them around in all those lovely juices. It's going to taste delicious. Slice up my avocado, and then last but not least, let's get the peppers in. So as that's marinating and this is blistering and charring, I want to show you the little trick with this round loaf. Now get yourself a nice cob round loaf. It could be multi-seed, whole grain, sourdough. Just take the top off and just pull away the soft, fluffy inside. With this center part, you will never ever waste that. That will make the best croutons. It will thicken a beautiful soup. So look, once you've hollowed that out, we can start layering up the flavors. So we'll go in just like that and pack it and push it down. So we've got the peppers here, and in they go, again, making a nice defined layer. Then it's time for the chicken. Just tear it up with your hands and make a really good layer. Avocado, and last but not least, the gem lettuce. You think it won't go in, just get it in there, stuff it in. Don't go wasting anything. Juices go in. It's gonna be so blooming scrumptious. It's all flavour. So what we want to do is apply some pressure. So we'll wrap it up tight, put it in the fridge and put something on top of it to apply pressure. That's just going to make the layers compress, the flavours mix. Leave it for a couple of hours ideally and it will be amazing. Time to make a delicious dipping sauce. So a brilliant little healthier swap is to use yogurt, 4 tablespoons, and then we're going to flavour it up with Parmesan. And you want about 10 grams, and the flavour is phenomenal. Just a little bit of parsley, finely chop it. Get that in there like that. And then we've got 1/2 lemon left that we haven't used. Just grate that lovely yellow part of the skin, and it's going to maximise flavour. And then, of course, squeeze every last bit of juice out of that. To give it a nice little mix up, delicious. Now, time for the loaf. Here it is. Take it out of that wrapping, nicely squashed, nicely marinated. This is going to be brilliant. And then when you cut inside it, well, you can have a look for yourself. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. A sandwich like you've never seen before.
is something a little bit different. So of course, when it comes to noshing on a little bit, take some of that lovely dipping sauce, beautiful. One little tiny stroke of this Parmesan cheese again. Oh, let's get it. Right, the moment of truth. It's not gonna be pretty, guys, but who cares? Full mouth, 1 minute. I love it. It's a proper comforting sandwich. Hi guys, hope you're well. So I'm going to show you how to make the most delicious sandwich. This is inspired by the American Sloppy Joe. It's basically the ultimate sandwich with gravy to dunk. It's filthy, it's messy, and it's the best. So whether it's Christmas time, Thanksgiving, or any time of year, this is a great thing to do with leftover meats. So I have some turkey here. What we can do is just pick this wing meat and even the skin into a pan. The pan is on a kind of medium-low heat. Exactly the same with the thigh meat. Just tear it up, all of it goes in. It's gonna be delicious. Just slice up the breast meat. I'll add that a little bit later because I don't wanna overcook the breast meat, okay? Push that to one side, happy days. So give that a nice little toss up. I want to just get that crispy for 5 minutes. We've got the gravy here just ticking away. Now, to make this Sloppy Joe amazing, I want to get some tang in there and some crunch. So there's two things I'm going to do that are very, very straightforward that's going to make this sandwich epic. First up is a barbecue sauce. There's nothing glamorous about this, guys. It's basically a load of things you've probably got kind of blended together, equal quantities of brown sauce and ketchup in a bowl. I'm gonna have a few good shakes of Worcestershire sauce, a good shake of Tabasco, English mustard, make it fiery, just mix this up. This sandwich is supposed to be a bit naughty. Of course, if you've got barbecue sauce in the fridge, feel free to use that. This is nice and hot now, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of my gravy, just a little bit, and I'll turn it right down, and I'll add my turkey breast in there, lid on top, and just heat it through. Now the pickle for me is everything. This is the thing that makes it really, really epic. I have a little jar of pickles. Get a knife and just finely slice it. I've got a crinkle cutter, by the way. It just looks cool, but also it gives you a bigger surface area. On my right here is the leftover pickle, right? And often this gets thrown away. What we can actually do is kind of just reuse that. So if you take carrot and peel the carrot, once you've got rid of that outer skin, just don't stop peeling to create the most beautiful thin slithers. Just get your knife and slice it as finely as you can into the most beautiful little matchsticks. We've got the pickle, we've got the carrot, a little chili, finely slice that, and then let's get a nice apple. So with the apple, so just take a little slither off the end, and then you have a flat edge and it doesn't move around. And then nice thin slices through the apple, through the core, and then we'll slice the other way. A little red onion, finely slice that. And then if you want to take a herb, chili and apple, absolutely love mint, right? Really, really nice. I'm just going to rip the top off. These stalks you can keep for flavouring soups and stews. The leaves, just finely slice them, and then we'll just mix this up. And I'm gonna put it back in this jar, okay? So just stuff it back. Now the acid from the vinegar and the seasoning will flavour all of this beautifully. It will stop the apple from going brown. Get the lid on tight, turn it upside down, in the fridge. It's good probably for a week, week and a half at least. So, gravy's ready, the meat is good. Let's get this party going. I don't wanna rack up like 10, 15 sandwiches. No. Just put it out, turn your little kitchen into a little sandwich bar. And then, here we go, welcome to Jamie's. Get me buns. I only got 4 customers today, but you never know, we might get busier. Just cut that in half. So right, let's load this little bad boy up. Some of that barbecue sauce, nice. Don't worry about being messy. I think this whole dish is about celebrating messy. Look at that, come on. Let's get into that pickle, beautiful. Get that sandwich on top. Now we need a swimming pool that is full of beautiful gravy. A load of hot, steaming gravy. Look at that, come on. And then you get your sandwich. I mean, look at this. Come on, look at that. And then you go for the kill. You go for a dunk, and then you have to look at it, because if you put it straight in your mouth, you're gonna burn yourself so badly. But when the pickle starts to wink at you, it's time. Hallelujah. There's no polite way to eat this sandwich, guys. There's gonna be gravy
all over your shirt, all over your chin. If there's anyone sitting next to you, there'll be gravy all up them as well. But if there's one thing for sure, is you'll be happy. And everyone eating this will be happy. With that crunch, with that heat, with that tang, and with that undeniable gravy. Come on, guys. Enjoy, make it, and get stuck in.
The tasty delight I'm tackling now, it's a bacon sandwich. My mate Pete swears by his version, and I swear by mine.
We both start with white bread.
Well, mine's got to be square, I'm afraid.
And mine's got to be a bloomer, round.
And of course, it's got to be streaky for me as well.
And for me, got to be smoked back bacon, always.
Let's do it. First of all, I always put the bacon into a cold pan. No oil at all, so it cooks in its own fat. I turn it on really, really low so it melts before it colours. That's the most important thing.
Beautiful. So what I'm doing is just a little bit of oil in a pan just to stop it sticking. I believe the best way to cook bacon is under the grill. As it kind of blasts it does funny things and it curls up, and the eye meat kind of creates this little cup that has this like natural little pork sort of gravy inside it.
The problem with that is, right, all the bits that have curled up and bubbled, they're not going to get crisp on the bottom. Get something to weigh it down with. You know, just a little pan like that.
Okay, so actually mine's done, Pete.
Yeah, mine is it's really nice and flat. Next, I assemble a sandwich before the final cook.
Ooh.
I've just got to have a tiny bit of butter in the bread. That's right for me. See, I don't like to take it to the point where it's actually crisp and you can snap it.
A perfect layer of bacon.
And I should pop it back in the pan. All that lovely bacon fat is just going to pick up in the bottom of the sandwich. Just to make sure the bottom is perfectly evenly coloured, I sometimes put the weight on it.
Well, let me tell you what happens to my sandwich. I'm not going to butter my bread. Take the bacon to one side. I'm just going to get my eating side there and clean off any of those bits here and push the middle bit down so there's that lovely fry in there as well.
Oh, yeah. Next stage is the slicing. Bacon rashers are going that way, north to south. So that means I slice east to west, giving you 4 fingers of sandwich.
I'm going to show you how technical mine is. Get a knife, go from one corner to one corner, and just cut it in half. And that's it.
All we need now is a bit of sauce for our sarnies. I love a bit of brown, but Pete likes a mix of ketchup, mustard and chilli sauce.
Why don't I try a bit of yours, you try a bit of mine?
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, that's nice. All your fat is in the centre and it's delicious.
I like the difference of texture, the crispy, the soft, and then the crispy again. So it's like triple pleasure. Thank you, Pete. That was lovely.
It's a pleasure, mate. I enjoyed it.
The ultimate toastie. Oozy on the inside, but topped off with a crown of crispy cheese.
We're not using flashy sourdough bread. We're using a nice, humble, white bloomer.
About a centimetre thick.
Get yourself some nice butter. Room temperature always helps. A fairly light buttering, and do both sides of the butter.
Get yourself a box grater, and you can use any cheese that you love. That's going to melt nicely.
A good cheddar at Red Leicester. Fantastic.
Once the cheese is grated, pile a handful onto your buttered bread and give it a squeeze.
And we're going to put it into the pan.
You'll need your frying pan on a low to medium heat.
So what we want to do is spend about 3 minutes on each side getting it beautiful and golden. It's that perfect temperature to get the middle oozy. Now I'm going to place some weight on the top and just use whatever you got around you just to weigh it down flat. So, okay, let's remove the weights now. And we have here a perfectly legitimate toasted cheese sandwich, right? Lovely. And many would be happy with that, okay? I ain't, right? I'm gonna grate a layer of cheese around the bottom of my little pan here. And almost think of it like a little doily. And we're gonna take this cheese sandwich and we're gonna put it bang on top. And in the course of a minute and a half, it brings out completely different flavors from the cheese. So you can see the fat splitting from the cheese and
That's another opportunity. Fat is coming out. Fat means we can add flavour. Just a tiny little pinch of KM. Tiny. You probably won't even see it, but you will taste it. Not as in hot, but as in like kick. Be quite rough with it. Don't be scared of it. And then you get underneath it and you just hold it. And by the time that we count to 30, we've then created our crown. I mean, I would love to cook that for the Queen. Then we put a little bit more cheese and we put it in the middle. And this is the final turn. 4 turns to perfection, guys, 4 turns. For perfection in the eating, you've got to leave it for 2 minutes because inside that toastie, you know, the cheese is like 1 billion degrees Celsius. Let's get the brown going, the ketchup going. Go and grab that mango chutney out the back of the cupboard. This is what makes the world go round. Crispy, gooey, fluffy, golden, perfection.
My super-sized Mexican club sandwich. Every single element rocks its big Mexican sombrero. And it all comes together inside a hot, steaming baguette. Crammed with black and gnarly chicken and crispy pancetta, this has big flavour. Plus, this is no average guacamole. It's packed with attitude and fresh ingredients, so you know exactly what's in it. All that and a gorgeous dressed chopped salad on the side. What a fantastic lunch, brunch or tea time treat for 4, served in under 15 minutes.
Okay, so if you're gonna do a club sandwich at home, it has to be really, really good. Every detail has to be bang on, okay? So I've got 4 bits of pancetta in a pan. I'm just gonna put that in as is, let that render out and go crispy. So that's the first bit done. I'm only gonna need 2 lovely chicken breasts, and I've got a wicked technique for making it tender, beautiful flavour, and cook super quickly, 15-minute meals styly. So get some greaseproof paper and whack them on there like that. So in here, I'm gonna add some pepper, be quite generous, nice season of salt, and then for flavour, real flavour, I want a nice pinch of cumin. I'm actually not even gonna bash it up. Whole cumin seeds, just about ½ a teaspoon goes in like that. And then oregano, so nice generous sort of heaped teaspoon goes in. And if you look in the pan now, you know, it's golden, it's crisp, and the fat's rendered out of that beautiful pancetta. So at this point in the story, we can just take this off and we can leave that pan on. Obviously at the moment, this chicken breast is gonna take about, you know, 15, 20 minutes at least to cook, and that's not good enough for 15-minute meals. So what I'm gonna do is just bring the greaseproof paper on top, get yourself a rolling pin, and just bang it out. I'll do one and show you the difference. And what's quite nice is literally in 10 seconds, look, you got a 1.5 centimetre piece of chicken, which is tender as you like, and a regular chicken breast there. Okay, so that's the difference that we've made. And that's all what 15-minute meals is all about. Shortcuts, being clever, but we're not just doing it to cheat. We're also gathering surface area. We're gonna get crispiness. We're also pounding that flavour into the chicken. And, you know, that shimmer of the fat there, the seasoning going on, it's gonna just love it. Chicken goes in. The little fillet just fell off there, but that's all right. Just pop that in the side. Really, really nice. We'll keep an eye on that. It's on a kind of medium-high heat, so a lot's gonna happen really quickly. I've got a nice big French baguette, or you could use a ciabatta if you want. I've got the oven preheated to about 150 degrees Celsius. Just 5 minutes in there is gonna make it crispy, spongy, and steamy, which is just what we want.
So while the chicken cooks away for a couple of minutes, this is the perfect window to prepare my chopped salad. I've got some gem lettuce and some old school salad cress.
So I've got some beautiful radishes. If the leaves are nice, you can keep them on because they're quite nice to eat. What I love about this salad is it's going to be crunchy and it's going to really be fresh and work with the sarnie really, really well. But if you look over at the pan now, you know, you can see how quickly the chicken cooks. Where it's white, it's cooked. Where it's pink, it's not. So at this point in the game, let's just turn it around. Look at that, look at that. Look at the fat dancing on top there. Gorgeous. Got the little fillet there as well, so that's gonna be really, really good. So just take a load of radishes. So to top that off, I want a little bit of feta, 40 grams, and I want you to make a point of really crumbling it in and around the salad. And you know what feta's like, it's salty, it's got that sourness that's gorgeous. So a little, as you can see, goes a real long way, which is lovely. And then a dressing, bog standard, just nice dressing. 1 part vinegar, red wine vinegar. So let's just call it a couple of tablespoons, to about the same amount of olive oil. So a little bit of salt and pepper. And you know, you've got nice vinegar, nice oil, that's what makes all the difference. And if you want to accent that with like a herb, it could be, you know, a little more dried oregano. And of course, it's always good to dress things at the table, so I'm just going to put that over here for the moment. Now, another little thing that's great to go with it is pickled chilies. You know, a little bit of heat. And as usual, I love boards, I love platters. I like being sort of quite dramatic about boom in the middle of the table to help yourself get in there, dressed at the table, colours, contrast. The last part of the story before we make the sandwich is guacamole.
This is going to be a real kick-ass guacamole. Homemade in a flash, really, really easy.
So I've got my avocados, I've got a little handful of cherry tomatoes, I've got some coriander, just a small bunch, about that much. We're going to go in with a couple of spring onions, just tear them up. A chilli, about 3/4 of one of those. It's not that hot. It's towards the end. Once you've whizzed that up with the avocado, right, the point is you take that little bit of stalk out and then you should be able to sort of bust it up like that. Okay? If you can't do that, don't make guacamole, okay? You know, you don't have to muck around halving it and removing it, you know. Again, we have a little bit of a bust up. Take that out. In we go. Really, really nice. Throw in about 5 cherry tomatoes, around about that. Right. We need acidity, right? Lime. Lime like a ray of sunlight when you're really cold. Do you know what I mean? You've got to wake it up. So get a nice juicy lime and give it a good old roll. Break all those little capsules of that beautiful citrus. And you might need 1, you might need 2, but basically, I believe the lime really makes the guacamole. So wazz that up. Couple of seconds. Job's a good one. Let's have a little season up now. Try a bit. Right, it's desperate for salt. Anyone can season. You just do it to your taste. All I'm saying is if you're going to do it, make it be gregarious. Make it be the mate at the party that's a right handful, that's way too mouthy. That's what guacamole is all about.
The guacamole is sorted, and now my Mexican feast is taking shape. The chicken's had about 8 minutes and is almost done, and the pancetta can go back in to warm up. So, with the final few minutes to go, the super-sized sarnie is ready to be built.
So, you want a serrated bread knife. Use a little oven cloth so you don't burn yourself. And just make a point of using the length of the knife. My wife always takes the mickey out of me because she does like the toast in the morning for the kids, and like she always puts her weight on it and like squashes it. And then like there's this weird mutant toast, and I'm use the length of the knife, Obi-Wan. Right, so use the length of the knife and just cut in. Right, so bust that open. Look at all that beautiful steam. We want the steam and we want the crispiness on the outside. Let's get that, look at that. Look at that chicken breast, sizzling away. Just sizzle, sizzle, that's exactly what we want. Crispy bacon. Little extra bit there, run your knife through there and slice it up. And actually, 2 breasts of chicken goes a long way. What's the point in spending loads of money on meat if you really don't need it in this lovely, delicious dish?
So we've got the chicken. Look at that when I just bust it up. Gorgeous, juicy in the middle, gnarly and blackened and lovely on the outside. We've got our gesture of crispy bacon. Then with the guacamole, literally as if you're a trainee plasterer, you know, get it on. We're using this instead of butter, you know, but it's all the better for it. You know, you're not losing nothing, you're gaining loads. Smear it, be generous. Okay, so then we go in with just lines, crisscross it. See all this juice in the bottom of the board, don't lose that. Those last bits of chicken, take all that beautifulness. Break up the bits of bacon. And then on with the roof. Look at my little mate here. Wicked little salad, pickles. Better guacamole if you want it.
Just spoon over that gorgeous salad dressing and finish this feast with a slice or two of lime and a little coriander. After all, we are in Mexico. And there, my friends, is a perfect big sarnie, all in 15 minutes.
Let's have a little go at this. No mucking about here. There's no polite way to eat this sandwich. It's just got to get done. Beautiful. Proper BLT sarnie. Guacamole, beautiful chicken. Happy days. On so many levels, that is serious.
This here is a skirt steak because it kind of looks like pleated skirt here. And of course, this is more than I need. You can see there's lovely fat through that. It's a different texture. It's tender, but you kind of have to chew a little bit more. Obviously, when you chew that little bit more, you get to taste a little bit more. And it's delicious. So in this recipe, which I think is the best steak sandwich I've ever had in my life, I didn't want the big hero to be just the steak. I wanted it to really be everything. I want to create a texture and flavour out of these humble white onions that really are incredible. And how do we do that? Well, you ain't going to do that by just frying it. You ain't going to do that by just slicing it. You've got to kind of put some real love into this.
I'm going to make my onions sweet and sour, with sourness coming from red wine vinegar and sweetness from sugar and caramelization. They'll take longer to cook than the steak, so I've got to get them on first.
Cut them about 2 centimetres thick. Now, the outside layer gets a little bit tough, so I'm just going to click these out. Just use it for salads or soups or whatever. And whether you're going to turn these onions into this beautiful steak sandwich, or whether they're kind of going to go into an amazing mega salad, or on a pizza, or kind of folded through a risotto, or with roast potatoes just for the last 5 minutes so they all kind of cook into each other, this onion dish is legit, whatever you want to do with it. So let's turn it on, and let me show you how to make the best onions.
Get your pan on a medium heat and add some olive oil, a good knob of butter, and 70 grams of dark brown sugar. Then let it all melt down together.
3 or 4 nice little leaves of bay. So I'm just going to lay those in like that. And then we go in with the onions. And what I'm trying to create is buttery, soft onions that just fall apart when you bite into that steak sandwich. That's what I want.
Season the onions and cook them for 5 to 10 minutes to give them a sweet caramelized bottom.
Once you've done onions like this, you'll keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And I can smell caramel right now. So I'm going to turn this down. And I'm going to go in with the vinegar, red wine vinegar. About 125 millilitres of vinegar. That's going to stop the frying and caramelisation process, and what it's going to do, it'll just start poaching. Lid goes on, we'll let them simmer away on a gentle heat for about 30-35 minutes. Let's get back to the steak. A little quick marination. I'm going to use rosemary on the bottom and on the top, and then I'm going to use one of these old meat hammers, and let's pound the rosemary into the beef to give it flavour and bring out the oils in the rosemary.
Bashing the beef will tenderise it as well as flavour it. and it will give you the chance to get the steak to the same thickness as the onions, which to me is the key for a perfectly balanced sandwich.
Like that, a little olive oil on the plate and a little bit on the meat. Leave this out at room temperature while these onions cook. And one thing to remember is, when cooking steak, never take it from the fridge and just cook it. Really cold, really hot, muscle, tense, tough. And then when it rests, too much liquid will come out instead of stay inside the meat. An hour and a half at room temperature, happy days. So, onions on, meat marinating, we've got a ciabatta. I'll just heat that in an oven and then we'll make the best steak sandwich. These are basically cooked now. You can see they've kind of shrunk. It's got dark and gnarly. Oh, the onions are gorgeous.
Turn them over in the vinegary caramel, then leave the onions to cool while you cook your steak.
We want that screaming hot. Let's season up this meat with sea salt and pepper on both sides. Then put just a cheap filtered olive oil into the pan. I'm gonna put in the lovely steak and I'm gonna turn that every minute until it's cooked to my liking. I'll take just tiny little knobs of butter and they'll start to discolour and burn and go beurre noisette. It'll be really, really good. Once it's had that nice first minute, we'll have a little turn. Shake the oil and welcome it back. Beautiful. Perfect time for a little glass of IPA.
Fry the steak, turning throughout for 3 minutes on each side if you like it tender and medium. For a rarer, juicy steak, reduce the time a little. Just be careful not to overcook it, because this particular cut of beef will toughen up.
I think we're in a good place now. We've amplified the absolute maximum of flavour in that, and now we're going to put it in that. Get yourself a nice big plate, and we'll turn off the heat. And there, all the sizzle. I'm just going to steal a little bit of that cooking fat there. Not too much, just a little bit. And what's going to happen now is incredibly important. The meat is going to rest. All of those lovely juices are going to come out of here, and that is what we're going to dunk our bread in. Don't let any of that go. So we'll just let that sit for a second.
Ciabatta, just warmed through in the oven, is the perfect bread for a great steak sandwich.
So look, that's why I chose the ciabatta. Look how crispy it is, which is a good thing. And then here, it's just spongy and gorgeous and comforting. So time to make this incredible Scooby snack. First up, let's get the amazing beef. Turn it around in that juice, and that's to protect it. As soon as any meat comes out of the roast or off the grill, it starts to dehydrate and it starts to dry up, and then it goes tough. So keep it loved with fat and juices. We go straight over to our chopping board. Now, if you notice, the skirt, you know, the grain of the meat goes this way, running this way. So I want to cut against that. That helps to tenderize it. And I'm going to cut the same thickness as the onions. Okay, so now it's about 1 centimetre because they've all shrunk a little bit.
Pour the resting juices onto your board so the ciabatta can soak up all that flavour evenly. Then spread on some English mustard for a kick.
Next up, they're amazing onions. Just look at that. Very beautiful. Look at the way it just falls apart. So exciting. And this juice here, give a little kiss of it to each little bit of onion. And then it's time to go on with our gorgeous steak. That wonderful cut of skirt. If you look into it, it's tender. You can see it's tender, look. Just run a few across like this. This is proper, this is. So we're going to go in with some watercress. Now, this is an opportunity as well, just to put a bit of thing through the story.
Just a good handful of watercress with some lemon juice and a pinch of salt, and pile it up onto your sandwich.
Be generous. That lovely, gorgeous, irony hit of lemony watercress.
Pop the top on and you're done. One mighty treat that's enough for 4.
That, my friends, is a steak sandwich.